Hello, this is Simon Kensington from Kensington SEO, and I'm going to be conducting an SEO audit of the Silverbrook web developer website. And I'm going to be looking at it from a couple of angles. One from a visitor's perspective, looking at the conversions. Can they get what they want, and can they get it quickly, and what's the site doing to help speed up the conversion process, and looking at it from an SEO point of view and looking at how we can get the site to show up in Google for more search terms and also to rank higher for those search terms. So first three questions that I always ask when looking at the website is, what is it, what's it all about, and what's in it for me? So I can see right up straight away that this is a site about a web developer. I can see that because that's in the title here, although the image has no relevance to that. So without the text I would be a little lost as to actually what the site was about. I'm assuming that this is a picture of a local landmark in the Northamptonshire area. The other thing is, what does it do? Well, it's a web developer, but it doesn't actually say, or doesn't actually scream at me that they build websites. So that might be a little bit of an issue for some people who are looking for web design or somebody to build a website. Got a testimonial, that's always useful. Testimonial, and we've got a statement here. It would perhaps be better to add in a call to action, something that obviously is related to building a website, whether it's a contact form or it's a page where they have details of the different packages and things. But it would be good to have a call to action here that says, do you want to build a website? So let's scroll down. We've got contact details, which are useful, although of course they are at the bottom of this, and it might be easier to see if they were at the top. It might be more accessible for a user if they were at the top, because this is quite a big screen, and you have to scroll down quite some way. So looking down here, we've got some more information, and we can see these go to links on other pages. So this is all very good. Got a link here. How much does it cost? We can see, if you look down here, you can see when I hover over that, it goes to hashtag front page 4. The hashtags are usually anchored for a link on the same page. Let's see where it goes. Yeah. So we've got one of the kind of trendy one-page websites, which instead of having separate pages that you can rank, has all of the information on one page, which isn't really very helpful for search engine, from a search engine rankings viewpoint. So I've got here, this is a link to a quotation page, which is good. Hosting and maintenance. One of the things where you've got lots of different options on this page, and so I would ask myself, what is the one thing that I want a customer to do? And because if you add lots of different calls to action, then you're going to confuse people. They might not necessarily know what to do. So we've got a call to action here, let's chat. We've got a send me a message. We've got how much it costs. We've got various links here, and then at the bottom we've got some more call to actions that again are different, so it might be better to stick to one call to action. This is okay. From my immediate reaction is that it's not particularly easy to read. It might be better if the background image here was blurred slightly, so that this front text was of a better contrast, would make it easier to read. And especially looking from a mobile device, this is great whilst it's on a 24-inch screen, but when you put it on a 5-inch iPhone, it might be a little difficult to see. And then at the bottom here, I'm not entirely sure what we've got going on here. We've got some quick links. These are all tags. Okay, well, we'll come back to the tags later because that has a huge impact on SEO. So this looks like it might be some kind of tag cloud. And then we've got some social buttons, which are good. Trouble with social buttons are, unless they're really sharing buttons, they kind of defeat the object, because what you don't want to do is you don't want to encourage people to go from your website to Facebook, because you want the transaction to happen on your page. And the same here. So if there were sharing buttons, then that would be brilliant. But to have a click here and go off to Facebook, you've kind of lost them then, and then they go off to Facebook and go and do something else, and we never see them again, potentially. Good, great thing here. We've got a cookie compliance tag down, bar down here. So that's good. That complies with the 2011 European Union Act, which is good. We've got privacy and cookies, which are good for a business. They all need to have these pages as well. And they all need to be filled out properly, because I've been pulled up by certain people before, where they've gone through the terms and conditions and said I hadn't customized it for my site. So it's always worthwhile making sure that you don't just use a boilerplate piece of content here, and you actually put in your own website and contact details and so on and so forth. So just need to have a quick check of those. Looking at the rest of the website, we've got some main navigation at the top here, which is good. So I'm not really going to go through every single page. So we'll look at the home page for starters, and then if necessary we can go into a more detailed look at the various pages after that. So let's look at how we're doing from a keyword perspective and on page. I'm just going to fire up my Moz bar, and what I will be able to get here is some on page information. So I can click on, I didn't click the wrong thing. This is a free plugin for Chrome, so anybody can get it. You just need to sign in with a free account with Moz. So what it's telling us here, we've got a page title with web developer, Northants and beyond, and then Facebook and Twitter. So I'm not entirely sure what that's doing in the page title. Meta description is a reasonable length. We've got an opportunity in the meta description to put a really compelling call to action, so that people, when they see this snippet in the search engine results, really want to press and click on your link. So you might find that there's an opportunity to just tighten this little ad up. No meta keywords, that's good. We've got an H1 tag here, which is Silverbrook Web Developers Northants. We've got an H2 tag here, which looks as if it's lumped in the testimonial quote and some odd bits of navigation here. And then alt text. We've got some alt text here, but it's not relevant to the page, so that would need to be looked at. We've got some bold and some which again isn't relevant to the page, and we've got no italicized text. So from an on-page viewpoint, if we think of each page should have a theme, and that theme is what tells Google the web page is about. And the way that that really works is that you need to have that theme, that keyword that you want to be ranked for, in your URL, either as part of the main domain or as part of the page. And then you need it in your page title, and then you need it in the H1 tag, and then you need it in the content, several times within the content. So looking here, it's a little confusing to Google as to exactly what this page wants to rank for. Silverbrook as a brand, which is, it's good to have a brand. In terms of development of the business at the moment, I wouldn't imagine that Silverbrook is a well enough established brand yet for people to be searching for Silverbrook on its own. We've got web developer in Northants. Now, we did a little bit of keyword research on this, and I can see that web developer Northants has no search queries in here. I didn't mean to say that there isn't any search for it, it just means that it's probably so low that it's not significant enough for Google to record those searches. And so really there is an opportunity to look at how we could do a bit more research and really dial in on a keyword that's actually got some search criteria. So I think what we're after is a web developer in Northamptonshire. So if we put Northamptonshire in there, that would be good. A web developer, if we knock that out and just look for the first one, I think we'll find that there are probably, web developer isn't something that most people would use to search for building websites. So web design is a more highly searched term. Web designer is a variation obviously of web design. And I think I did a little bit of research earlier on, and I could see that, just notes, website builder, website design and website creator were actually had more search terms than web developer. So in terms of this page, it might be better to look at targeting the keywords around a web designer in Northamptonshire. Now, whether or not it's actually important to put Northamptonshire in as one of your keywords is another question, because do people actually search for Northamptonshire, or if they're in Northamptonshire, would they search for a web designer in one of the towns within Northamptonshire? So looking at your search strategy, you need to kind of think hard about how you want to structure that, whether we go for web designer in Northamptonshire and then build out separate pages for web designers in Kettering, in Raunds, in Rushden, in Thrapston, and so on and so forth. So, but I think if you change the term here to web designer, you might find that you would rank better, and then you can make sure that that theme is in your page title, and you can also change your URL on other pages to have web designer in it as well if you're targeting the locations. So in the content, there's a reasonable amount of content, but there's no actual kind of paragraph of content. It's all kind of tables and in boxes and stuff, so there's not actually a paragraph of content for Google to be able to say, yeah, well, this is what this page is actually all about. So it would be worthwhile putting in 300 to 500 words, and in that content you could explain a little bit about what a web designer is, what your process is, so that it makes it perfectly clear to Google that this page is about web design, because it's in the title, in the H1, in the content. And then when you've got some content, those 300 to 500 words, you can then emphasize the web design keyword by bolding it. Another example of it, you could italicize it. So again, it's sending signals to Google that these are important keywords for this page. So that's kind of a quick overview on the on-page stuff there. Let's just have a look at a couple of other bits and pieces. So we've got the structured data. Let's just see whether or not you have any structured data schema markup. Okay, good. We've got no errors. We've got web page. That's okay. We've got organization. This is good. But with organization, you can actually have a type of business, so you can be more specific than organization. and looking at schema, you could probably actually have a web designer or some kind of schema. Professional services might even be better than organisation. That's what I use for the SEO business. And in the organisation, and indeed in the professional services, you have the opportunity to add in a whole lot more information, such as your address and various other bits and pieces that are all important. So an opportunity there to add more of the content there. We've got website twice here, and we've got web page, so we really want to get rid of this. We've got site navigation here, so we really need to get rid of the unnecessary on-page schema markup, because it's just confusing. So I would settle for organisation and use professional services and really fill out everything in there for you. So that's a structured data. Looking at the page speed, this is Google's own page speed test, and it will give us an indication of what Google thinks of the site. So it's coming up as poor for mobile, so it's showing that there are a number of things that we can do here to make the page load faster. And from a Google's ranking perspective, over the next coming months, Google's going to be moving from a desktop-based index to a mobile-first index. So your desktop rankings will be determined by how good your mobile site rankings are. So if your mobile site isn't up to scratch, then that will affect the whereabouts of your desktop, where that appears in search. So it's as worthwhile to look at making sure that we fix these errors, so that this page loads a lot faster than it is at the moment. Looking here at the sitemap, I can see that we've got a number of pages here of the various different services, which is all good. One of the things that it did highlight was that we've got category pages, and we'd got tag pages, news pages, and so on. And we can see from a quick Google search that here, if we put tag in here, we can see that we've got all of these pages added as tags. So this is potentially going to be duplicate content for your site. So if you're using the Yoast plugin or another SEO plugin, it would be as worthwhile to make sure that you're de-indexing tag pages, that you're de-indexing author pages, and de-indexing image pages, unless you particularly want to rank for images, but on this sort of site probably not so much. So that would be a recommendation there, is to make sure that you get rid of these unnecessary pages, which will help you to avoid any thin content penalties from Google. If we just load up this page, when it loads up, we can see that there's not a lot of content on this page, and so that is not a good thing. And you'll probably find that it's actually going to be the same page for each of these three tags. So it's okay to use tags if it makes sense, helping people navigate your site, but the rules are, or best practice rather, is to A, don't index them, and B, only use one tag per page to make it easier for people to find their way around your site. Right, let me have a look at Screaming Frog. This is a free application that anyone can download, and it gives you an opportunity to look at your site in the way in which Google would crawl it. So basically here we've got all of the pages on your website, and so what we can start doing now is looking at the response codes. Now response codes are the server codes that come back, and we're looking for 200s, or if you've got a 301, that's okay. That basically means that this site is redirecting, moved permanently, So you just want to check to make sure that these 301s actually make sense and that they're the links are moved and redirected to the right places. Another one here, another one. So as I say, they're okay as long as they are going to the right places and make sense. What you don't want to do is you don't want to 301 a whole load of irrelevant sites to your site, because that will look as if you're trying to manipulate the searches. We've got no 404s, which is good. There's no missing pages there. Page titles, so duplicate page titles, right? We've got duplicate page titles here, so that's a no-no, so we need to fix those. Are these actually different pages? So it looks like it might actually be duplicate pages. Right, okay, here we go. So we've got here, the site's been moved to a SSL, but we haven't got a 301 redirect from the non-SSL page here, so that needs to be looked at, because you'll have two pages there. And it looks like there's a duplicate page here as well, so although they're both on the SSL, it might be that the one's in a portfolio, and it looks like you might have changed something at some stage. You've got website portfolio as a category and portfolio, so those need to be looked at. Nothing with a missing H1 tag, which page title, sorry, which is good. We've got lots of very long page titles. Page titles should be around about 65 characters, give or take, and as we can see here, the title lengths are way over in some cases, so you need to shorten those. Often the best way to do a page title would be keyword brand, so you've got kind of brand and then keyword, and your brand is really long. You'd be better off with brand as just Silverbrook, because otherwise you've got these keyword and location keyword in there, which could be considered as being over optimized. So I'd look at keyword and then brand. Meta descriptions, looking around about 150 odd for your meta descriptions. So you've got some that are too long, so you can optimize those just to shorten them down. Again, with meta descriptions, you need to make those really compelling so that people are going to click on them. We've got lots of short meta descriptions, so these are things that most of these, or a lot of these, are on the tag pages or the date pages. So if you de-index those, then there won't be anything to worry about. But as a general rule of thumb, you want to make sure that you use as much of the 150 odd characters in your meta description as possible. Just use it as if you were putting a PPC campaign together and use that as an ad. Meta keywords, we don't want those, so that's good. H1 tags, we have got duplicate. We've got some duplicate H1 tags. Each page should be different. Again, we've got some tag pages here, so when we get rid of those, that will get rid of some of those. But you need to make sure that your SEO, your keyword structure for your site, is such that you don't have duplicate keywords, so you're not targeting the same keyword on more than one page. Otherwise, you will cannibalize your the chances of you ranking. Over 70 characters, I haven't got any over 70, so that's good. And there's no pages with more than one H1, which is good. No missing ones. H2s, H2. Missing H2 tags, one page. They are ideal. They give you the opportunity to put in a synonym of your keyword and a keyword variation. Duplicate H2 tags. Well, it looks like this main navigation is being listed as an H2 tag. That may well be part of the theme, so it would be as well to change that up so that you're not getting that automatically listed as a H2 tag, because that's telling Google that your site's all about main navigation, which clearly isn't right. Images, over 100 kilobytes. Right, these images are quite big, which may explain why the site wasn't faring so well in the speed test that we did earlier. So you can certainly resize the images to the right size rather than letting the theme resize them. You can also use something like Smush, WP Smush It to optimize them, or you can use Kraken. You can either use Kraken on the web page and upload your images, then you can optimize them and then download them and then re-upload them to WordPress, or you can use a Kraken plugin to be able to do that, but you might need to pay for that depending on how many images you want to optimize. Missing out text, there's a couple here, not sure what the image is here, but it's good practice to make sure that the alt text is used in every opportunity, and again that the alt text matches the theme, the keyword theme for that page. So just to re-emphasize that your alt text should be relevant to the keyword theme. And that we haven't got analytics or search console hooked up to this, so that's about as far as we can go with that. We've got here again, these pages, they don't have much content on them, so I would look to add a lot more content on these pages so that you can talk about your web design process and the options, and that way you will help to rank better. On a portfolio page, we've got a little bit of text here. It can't hurt to add more text, and what you could do is in this text is you could start doing some inner linking, and you could kind of pick 2 or 3 sites that you really think emphasize your abilities, and you could link them directly from within the text here as well. That would give you some inner linking, and that would give you in content relevant inner links, which are very powerful. So that would be good. Testimonials. Let's just check. I don't know that we've got any schema markup on this. Let's put this page in here. Right, no, we haven't got any. We've got creative work for some reason. So you really need to look at what's generating these this metadata, the schema data markup. Where'd this go? Let's shut this one down. Where were we? Testimonials. So with the testimonials, you've got the opportunity to use schema markup for reviews on this, and that will help you. You've got lots of reviews here, so you can get aggregate reviews, and that will put the stars on your search returns and in the search results, which helps them to stand out and helps to provide a good opportunity for people to see that you are good at what you do based on social proof. News, I guess this is where the blog might be. So we've got blogs here. Again, this is category pages archived, so I would de-index the category pages as a possibly, but it really depends how you structure your site, because this is all going to be duplicate content, because you're going to have these blog posts and you've got them listed in the category and you've got them in the tags, so there's an awful lot of duplicate content on here, so I would address those. About page, we have got some nice text on here. Arguably, perhaps the map should be on a location page in the contact us, but either way, I would make sure that there is a map on here, which there isn't, so that needs to be looked at. And a final kind of observation really is that from a Google My Business point of view, which I think we looked at, I found here, this is the address that you've got registered with Google My Business. So you need to make sure that you've got all the photos and videos and everything else fully filled out here. And again, here we talked about keywords. You've got web designer here as your category. So again, that would make sense to add that to the website, because then Google will tie this up and say, yeah, web designer is web designer and not web developer, because technically they're possibly two different disciplines. So I would look at just kind of making sure that everything all it's more consistent really. But you need to make sure that this details your phone number and website, your phone number and your address is on every single page of your website. So I'd make sure that that goes in the footer down here, and then that way, and if you can do that as JSON markup or microdata, and that way it helps to just send those signals back to Google that this is the page that matches this Google My Business page. And try and get as many reviews as you can here. You've got a number of good reviews on your reviews page, so if you can get those, encourage those people to add it here, that's good. And once you've got all of your other social platforms hooked up, and if you start getting reviews there, then they'll start showing up in here. You'll see you've got Facebook reviews or Yelp reviews or whatever in here. So that's the advantage of using structured data correctly, that it all ties everything together, and you can see that here. We've got a few other pages here, so it might be as worth, this is what we call a brand search, and we've got a couple of kind of irrelevant or non-you type pages at the top of that brand search. So it might be worthwhile creating a couple of YouTube videos, as they seem to rank quite well for this, and try and get your video there instead of a couple of other videos that aren't relevant. So I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I just had a quick look. I think web designer, you were on the bottom of page 2 for the search web developer Northants. So I think if you switch those keywords around, then you can really put into good practice some of the things that we've talked about in this audit, and that will help you to show up for more relevant search phrases. So I hope you found that useful. If you need any more help, just get in touch. Thanks very much.